This woman is easily the most scariest person on the internet. A TikToker by the name rx0rcist, whose real name is Savannah, but you won't find her under that name. She would later change her last name to Sparks to protect her identity. She has appeared on mainstream media promoting vaccines, but the journalist failed to look into her background whilst on the TikTok app. She hadn't worked as a pharmacist since 2016 and was directly responsible for getting frontline workers fired during the height of the pandemic. This video I made several years ago shows how nasty she is towards a nurse who politely asked the government to lift the mask mandates in hospitals. Her and her supporters would inundate the hospital this nurse worked at in order to get her fired. This is routine for people who follow her content, find a victim online, stalk and harass them and try to destroy their lives. They will even attack their work colleagues, friends and family, and they've weaponized Child Protective Services and the police against some of these victims. Thousands of complaints have been made to the FBI about her and her stalker group, but nothing. Instead, mainstream media continues to turn a blind eye because she's helping push the narrative they want onto the general population. All the while she scams hundreds of thousands of dollars, pretending to be a social justice activist. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Savannah Sparks has done it yet again. Yes, our old friend rx0rcist has doxed yet another nurse. She's doxed where she works, who she is, because she said that she believes it's time that the mask mandates and hospitals are removed because she doesn't like wearing them. They've been wearing these masks for 2 years now, over 2 years. Now, COVID's not going anywhere. It's going to be with us for the rest of our lives, and Savannah Sparks does not work in the medical field and has not worked in the medical field this entire pandemic. Now, the hypocrisy of her to be calling out this nurse, considering I think her last job was at Walgreens in 2016 with her sister, and they both left under pretty suspicious circumstances. I'll just leave it at that. Now, here's her video. I mean, I'm not having a dig, but Savannah is getting creepier and creepier in her videos. I don't know what the fuck's going on here.
Seriously, it's been 2 years. Can you let us breathe again? Thanks.
I'm wondering why a COVID RN is unmasked on a COVID floor, leaving comments saying, who cares that we're still in a pandemic, saying shit like she's had more travel assignments than your mom has done men. So off I go looking for clues, and first red flag, you are an MLM hunbot. But one thing MLMs are good for is selling out shitty nurses. Let me go to this link right here. Thank you for your full name, Tiffany Campbell, which brought me to your LinkedIn that claims you work at Nanticoke Memorial Hospital. So I Googled that, and that hospital is now evidently owned by Tidal Health Nanticoke. So I go back to this travesty of a video to look for clues to confirm that you are in fact at that hospital. I see you try to conceal your identity by flipping your ID badge around so that there was no identifying information on it, but you forgot to hide your lanyard clip. Does this look familiar? Tidal Health logo, lanyard clip. It's a match. See you later, Tiffany.
Savannah Sparks has made a living off making this content, hundreds of thousands of dollars a year, getting frontline medical workers fired during the pandemic. As you can see, this video was 2 years after the start of the pandemic, and the nurse was just politely asking the government to lift the mask mandates so they didn't have to wear them at hospitals. Savannah and her supporters don't work. They just grift money online. And these were not the only medical workers that they attacked over this pandemic time. They would attack doctors who prescribed ivermectin, nurses who would give patients ivermectin if they were prescribed it, trying to get them fired. Travel nurses who did not need to be vaccinated would be under the attack by these unemployed TikTokers. Now, she is calling out some comments this nurse made, which I personally found funny as Savannah Sparks has made very similar comments to trolls that she's gotten on her own TikTok account. So, hypocrisy. Hear those comments. How did she pass NCLEX and nursing school? NCLEX is the licensing thing over there. Now, apparently the United States, Canada, and Australia are all in on this. So, Australia, we finally made the big time.
Once a jolly swagman camped by a village.
Now, in response to this comment, the nurse in question said this: I've been a registered nurse for 21 years and have done more specialty units and travel assignments than your mum has done men. Touche. Now, Savannah Sparks would go on to pump out yet another straight banger, ladies and gents. It is 5 things I wouldn't do as a pharmacist. Now, she mistakenly left out the fact that number 1 should have been actually working as a pharmacist. Because you and I and everybody know that you have f***ed your own career in that industry due to being a dickhead online.
It's facts! It's facts! It's not facts. These sites are not facts.
Now, Savannah Sparks also released a video. It was a 7-minute long video. I'm not going to play the whole thing because it's fucking sad. She's trying to trip this, I think he's a gay Hispanic male. She's trying to trip him up. He had an altercation with a lady at the bank, a verbal altercation with a lady at the bank. I think she was trying to push in line and he was having none of it. And she made a homophobic slur towards him. So he responded in kind. Now, he goes on to explain to Savannah very rationally, very logically as to how it played out. Now, she was continually trying to bait him. She's since done the dirty delete on this video because it's fucking sad. One of my favorite parts of the video, and I think it's Savannah really revealing her hand there, he calls her young lady. Now, that's an endearment sort of thing. Now, she says, call me doctor. Now, he didn't ring you up for fucking medical advice. He has no idea who the fuck you are. And the fact is, look, if I wanted to know what was in a vitamin C tablet, yeah, I probably would ask you. But if I'm having a medical episode, I think I'm going to go to my local GP, who's a prescriber. Just another Ali Nashirvan, and prove that's not my real name, perspective moment here. I believe a lot of what we saw during this pandemic was just pure jealousy, because at this time, nurses and frontline workers were looked at as being heroes during the pandemic. And a lot of these people that were attacking them used to work in the medical field. Now, Savannah Sparks, she was a pharmacist for about 5 minutes. She wasn't a pharmacist very long. And then she left the industry and she was trying to make money online, and she successfully did it by basically exploiting social justice talking points. For those of us who lived through this, it was very interesting to watch, because you literally had these former medical people acting as if they were infectious disease experts, and they were going against people that actually were, just because the government's stance. They were really propagating what the government was sort of pushing out to the general public, which I believe a lot of it was fear tactics. This next video is prime example of what these fake social justice warriors do, like Savannah Sparks and Dinesh. Now, these two people are from wealthy families. They've never really had to work. Dinesh has never really held a job since he left high school. Savannah, she was a pharmacist for 5 minutes, then stopped working because, you know, wealthy family, husband's got a great paying job as an Air Force officer. She doesn't want for anything, but these people have gravitated towards this social justice stuff to make money. It's become a business to them. And in this video, it is a black female behind the phone basically making these false allegations towards this Hispanic man. She's twisted the narrative. Savannah's jumped on board because she wants to make it a race issue so she can get the views, she can hopefully build her platform even more to make even more money. These people have made hundreds of thousands of dollars a year doing this.
I'll say it again for TikTok.
These agitators all have that same accent. Say it again for TikTok.
I look like a whore? Is that what you just said? I look like a whore.
That's good.
He's not stupid. He knows exactly what she's trying to do. And this is my whole point about Dinesh John Nashirvan, who's that Dinesh guy, Savannah Maum, who's rx0rcist, Randall Michael McWhorter, who's Tizzy, and Denise Bradley, who's Aunt Karen. When they run with these viral videos to track these perpetrators down, it is mostly people like this who are twisting the narrative. And his reaction there just proves it.
You just said I look like a whore, right? No, say it again.
You like my capri pants?
You're so
You like my
proud that
capri
I
pants?
look like a
You
whore.
like my capri pants?
That's what you just said.
Thank you.
I'm pretty certain it's actually against the law to film in a bank, so I don't know if anyone knows who this person is. Maybe Crime Stoppers need to be notified.
Hey, is Gilbert Mendez available?
Speaking.
Hey, I'm just wondering, I saw a video on TikTok, and I was wondering if that was you that called a woman a whore in a bank today?
Hashtag when TikTok is life.
First, who are you?
Who are you to call somebody a whore? I'm just wondering.
You know what? You know what? She made a homophobic remark to me while I'm standing there, okay, before anything. You only get half the story, right?
Okay, so why don't you
You get half.
So-
She makes a homophobic, and I'm just supposed to sit there and take it?
So what
You know,
was...
she walked in, she cuts the line, and said, "Miss, I'm behind them. I was here before you." I'm like, "No, you weren't. Ask the teller. I've been waiting here for that teller because I had to see her." Then she makes a remark to me, so I answered, and then I just left it at that.
So what was the...
Okay, get the whole story.
Okay, what was the homophobic remark?
Just going to quickly interject with an Ali Nashirvan straight banger and prove that's not my real name. It just occurred to me that he said he was waiting for a specific teller, which meant he may have let other people go in front of him to see other tellers, but he was waiting for this specific one. And she come along thinking, oh, great, I'll just go in front of him because he's let other people go. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to work this stuff out. And you can see here how Savannah Maum is just extremely dishonest. You know, this is a woman that was on Vice News, you know, talking about vaccines. And we've caught her out lying about so many things. How can you trust this woman on anything?
She made a comment about the way I was dressed, that I was wearing queer clothes.
So she said...
And you see that, right?
Well,
so
no.
I didn't call her a whore. I said, you look like a whore.
Okay, semantics. So she said to you...
Well, semantics, right? But it's okay for her to make a queer insinuation to me, right?
So she said... So wait, I'm confused. So she said you were wearing queer clothes, or she made a queer insinuation?
Goes, look at you standing there with your hand out and your capri pants. That's why I made the remark. First of all, they weren't capri pants, they were shorts.
So
that was a blatant homophobic remark.
You just told me what she said to you was that you're wearing capri pants.
And pointed in your capri pants. Honey, you weren't there.
Can you walk me through that?
This is the same woman who has the audacity to claim that she is an investigative journalist. And you can see here how she's really trying to get this shoe to fit. Even though it was a homophobic remark made, she is trying to make the shoe fit because she wants to make this a race issue. And you can clearly see here how this guy is talking to her. He doesn't need to. And she just will have none of it. She wants to run with this specific narrative. And this is my point. If you ever get called out by these people, ignore them. You do not owe them anything. You don't owe them an explanation at all. Just going to throw in another comment here because I actually did contact this man via email. I used the email address there and I did actually speak to him and he told me he just wanted to let it die down. He was being harassed by these people, and anyone who has a fully functional brain who is listening to this interaction, and Savannah did actually do the delete on this video because it was terrible. But some of her supporters actually went and harassed this man, even though, you know, the video speaks for itself.
You know what? I'm wearing men's clothes. That is a blatant homophobic remark.
Okay.
You know it as well as I do. You need to open your eyes a little.
If somebody tells you you're wearing capri pants...
That was my response. So I'm not going to continue with this. But that was my response. And then I even apologized. I said, I'm sorry, I shouldn't have said that. But she didn't care about that. She just turned it into her rant. And when I told her that I was next, and she said, look at you putting up your hand in your capri pants. She goes, I was here before you. I said, no, you were not. I've been standing here for 15 minutes waiting. I was here. Look at you standing there with your hand up in your capri pants. Okay? She did the first shot.
So commenting,
okay?
So
I'm not a woman hater. I am none of those things.
I didn't say that. I'm trying.
No, she did.
Was that almost a Freudian slip? I'm trying to create content off this and make it a race issue. I think that's probably what she wanted to say.
If you look at it, she says that I'm a woman hater. You see what I mean? It's the narrative, young lady. I'm a decent person.
Young lady? Baby, I'm 32. I'm not a young lady. Don't call me a young lady.
That's semantics. I'm trying to be, that's old school. Okay?
I'm not old school. It's 2022. Well, if you want to be respectful, sir, you can call me doctor, not young lady. But moving on.
The devil is really in the details here. You can hear the flutter in her voice when she says, call me doctor, moving on. She even realizes how ridiculous she sounds, but she's doing it for an audience. She wants to rev people up. And that was the point where she was like realizing this race thing was not going to work. So she did try to shift it back to maybe a feminist talking point. This is what she does. She's very clever at what she does, but yeah, this guy did get inundated with some nut jobs, even though, like I said, I think the video speaks for itself.
You know what? You weren't there.
Let's take a wider lens on this for just a moment. You can see how she's trying to incite this man to say something out of pocket. So she's got something juicy for her TikTok followers. She disregards everything the man says about the incident, even though the video, in my opinion, backs up his claims. Savannah Sparks is void of typical human emotions because I do believe that she's a genuine sociopath. One of the most disturbing incidences, and I've talked about this numerous times, is when she was swatted. And swatting isn't like how it used to be where they kick in the door. They call you up on the phone. She chose to stand there with her child in her arms talking to the police because she knew the doorbell camera was going to pick it up and she could use it to garner sympathy and donations on TikTok. She then posts a video with her face in it, and I'm not even sure what emotion she was going for in it, but it just didn't fit. She just looked cold. Now, this is a woman who has been on Vice News and they described her as having a warm personality, but nobody's seen it. Even in the interviews she's done on mainstream news where they're talking about vaccines and using her as an expert because she has a PharmD, she's just completely void of emotions in those interviews. And when you look at the name change she made from Maum to Sparks, I believe there's two reasons for it. One, she wants to protect her business, which is Milky Mum. She did not want that name associated with a TikTok account, so she changed it to Sparks. And I believe the reason she chose it to Sparks, whether she consciously did this or not, she is sparking the fuel to racial hatred in the United States. And she is getting away with it. Dinesh Nashirvan, Randall Michael McWhorter, Denise Bradley, and Savannah Maum have hijacked the social justice movement and turned it into an absolute joke to grift money and to gain following. That's it.